Maybe you can make her one of the hosts. So then she's like
in control.
Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking, Leisha, because I guess I'm facilitating for Tracy, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering how you felt about it being like almost, and you can tell me yes or no, like she was coming to us like we were coaches together. And so almost like we are facilitating together. And so at any point you can come in. And then if you're facilitating at any point, I can be like, well, what about, and I'm hearing this too.
Like you and I are facilitating her together.
It came to me today and I was like, that sounds like fun.
Yeah. Tracy, how do you feel about that?
I'm up for anything.
Okay.
I'm pretty open to do anything.
So I'm going to say you're the main facilitator and I'm your support staff.
Cool. Awesome.
And then that way I'll just kind of like jump in or say anything if I feel like I need to. The fact that you've been practicing this already in groups, I'm like.
It goes really well. And then, so we'll see.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
For a moment, is there anything the three of you, is there anything you guys need before we do get started or any updates? Like Crystal, I know you're in the process of an up level. Is there anything you need?
I want to tell you something.
Go for it, Tracy.
First. We didn't do that in this class. Why was I thinking we did this in this class? So Leisha did a session with me. I had some PTSD trauma from a situation that happened like over 20 years ago where I couldn't stay home. When I stayed home by myself, I would get really scared and would like go into panic sometimes. And she did a session with me and I was alone like more than once now. Like I'm fine. I didn't have I was actually like waiting for something to happen, waiting for my heart to start racing, like waiting to be scared. And I actually wasn't. I was like, oh my gosh, this whatever we did, it worked.
Amazing.
Yeah, I had to tell you that. I was like, 2 times already. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go to sleep. And I went to sleep and I was fine. I was like, oh my gosh, that worked. And then I don't know if y'all remember some time ago, I don't know if you guys were on the call, we were talking about anxiety whenever I would start to work. That's gone too. Yeah, completely.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I just had to share that.
Thank you for sharing. That's exciting.
Yeah, I'll just say, Leisha, so yesterday I was listening to my Gene Key as I was on my morning walk at like 4 a.m. And then I was like, and they're like, you're never complete. I'm like, that's it. I'm never, because I have this like habit that I realized I was like always saying I'm complete. I'm like, oh my God, I'm fighting it. So I was like, I realized that I'm not complete with everything. And so I stopped trying to fight that. And then we had the RTT and we realized this, and I was like, in my head, I'm like, I'm too stubborn to get hypnotized. And then like, at least when she was doing the hypnosis, like my arms were reacting and stuff. And I fell asleep for a while, but I feel like I cleared some of the stuff. But ironically, something in my body was like, you want to go hit your DMT pen yesterday. So like I hit a whole lot of DMT and I was like, I'm ready to die. Let's do this. So
wait, you did the DMT with the hypnosis or after?
It was, what time was Elisa's call? I think I did the DMT before.
Oh God. Yeah. And then got hypnotized.
And then when we got home from dinner, Dominic's like, you want to do DMT? I'm like, yeah, let's do DMT. So I had a lot of DMT yesterday.
No wonder. Okay, let me ask you this. How's your brain?
I'm more tired than anything. I haven't gotten enough sleep. So I'm going to go take a nap after this.
Okay.
Yeah, I always have to like message Lisa when I'm like high as fuck.
Yeah, you didn't message me yesterday. I like those messages. Yeah, it just kind of feels like your nervous system is a little amped up, your brain and your nervous system. So a long time ago, I don't know if you were on that call where we were like kind of visualizing the different brain parts. Maybe when you're taking a nap, just like go tell them that like they're okay and they can come back down to ground zero.
I was like, let's just rewire a little bit yesterday. For some reason, like that's what kept coming to me. So like, let's just rewire everything.
Because you're not complete. You had this epiphany, you're like, I'm not complete, I may as well rewire it all.
Well, I was like, yeah, it just, I've been feeling like I was gonna and I still haven't gone to another like planet or like anything. Like, I keep just seeing these things, but I never jump. And I don't know whether I'm meant to not jump or like not go to another plane, but I was like, okay, like send me some downloads. I'm ready to die. Let's do this. And like, it still didn't.
I think it will. I think the more and more that you allow yourself to be intuitive, you will.
Yeah. Otherwise, there might be an Aya ceremony in my future.
Yeah. Or combo.
And then I'll message you Aya on LSD. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that for this though.
I just have one question. I only ever did muscle testing with the leaning forward in the back. And so I remember we did this, but I don't know. So with the yes is when it breaks. Is that what it is?
Well, to go a little deeper, it's a significance detector. So what you're doing is you're looking for a change in significance.
And when it breaks, that's the most significant. So like if you're asking, is it spiritual, mental, physical?
Yeah, because sometimes this can be a yes, and sometimes this can be a yes. It depends on how you're asking and framing the question and have set up the question.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's why I mostly say, well, once you get comfortable with what it feels like, the next level is it's a significance indicator.
Yeah, usually for me, my nose break, but that's like I have to frame the questions the right way. But I want to try that the other way.
Yeah, because we're looking for a change in the energetic field.
Yeah.
Because their energy will shift and be like, so physical, mental, I'm making this up, emotional, energetic, spiritual. It's like, okay, something is resonating in their field when I say those words.
Got it.
Yeah, but it is really helpful for yes, no as well.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, Diana, I'm going to hand it over to you as lead facilitator.
Yeah, amazing. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, how are you doing today? You feel better to me.
Yeah, I do feel better. I'm on the rise. I'll say I'm on the rise. Like better moments than I previously had in a while. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah. What's been up for you?
Nothing, the same.
So that's my question, Leisha, let's say. So normally when someone's coming, they're coming with something, right? Because that's why they're like coming to a session.
What kind of work do you do exactly?
I do love coaching.
Love coaching.
Love and like relationships, yeah.
Love and relationships, yeah. But I work primarily with women.
Okay, so could I act like I have? Well, I won't act. I'll think of something that I have an issue with a relationship and ask her to help me with that.
I mean, I don't want to create an issue where there isn't an issue.
Oh no, I'm not going to create anything.
Okay.
I'm going to think of something. I'm going to think of something. I'm going to think of
or
something.
Even like, even if it's like the relationship with one of your kids, like it's all related.
That sounds too complicated. I'm
like, no, use it.
I'll use it. Okay. And I think I brought this up to you before, Alicia. So we were talking about, remember when we were talking about attachment, anxious attachment, and then there's the avoidant, and then there's the is it called stable or healthy? something. Okay. So my husband, very anxious attachment style. And I'm very, very stable most of the time, but every now and then I get pushed, he could push me into avoidant, if that makes sense. Like and then I'm just like, I just shut down. And I just shut down. But sometimes it because sometimes it affects me, because I have an open emotional center, and I feel like I absorb his stuff sometimes. And then I just, like, I could be in like the perfect mood, and then all of a sudden I'm like,
How does his anxious attachment show up?
in my body.
More so in his behavior or his words. Like, how does his anxiety or anxiousness come out?
It could be something so simple, Diana. So simple, like I'm trying to think of something that happened recently. And then I was like, okay, I'm wrong if I do, I'm wrong if I don't. Oh, okay. My 5-year-old was getting ready to go to school, and he said he told me to ask his dad if he wanted to go. And he had just came from traveling. And I was like, no, he's not going to want to go. Normally, like, if he's been traveling and if you try to ask him to do something, it just, like, if the kids or anyone, he just like, I just traveled this many hours, instead of, no, I'm really tired. It's, I just traveled. How could y'all ask me that? Okay. So Ethan asked, and I was like, no, don't even bother. We're not going to set him off. He got upset because I said that. I'm like, well, if I would have said it, if I would have asked you, you didn't even ask me. Well, if I would have asked you, you would have probably got upset anyway. So I just said, don't bother. And then he just kept going on and on and on and on about it. And I was just like, I just ignored him and walked away. But
okay, yeah. And when you ignore him and walk away, what ends up happening?
nothing. I just ignore him and walk away. Like, I just avoid that whole, I'm just gonna just leave it alone, and just, that's kind of my, like, coping mechanism sometimes, or just walk away. Like, I don't want to hear it right now. Like, it doesn't matter what I say. I could have said it the other way and it would have still turned out the same way. I don't know. It's just this personality, but yeah, that's common.
Yeah. When he gets into that state, so I'm hearing like he gets like really worked up. Then what happens in your body?
I get really worked up, but I'm calm. It's like
You're calm on the outside or on the inside?
On the outside. On the outside, I'm calm, and on the inside, I'm just like. Then I go to my little corner of the house. I take a few breaths. I ground myself, and I'm like, I don't have to let that affect me. Like, I know what to do, but that's normally what I do. But I shut down sometimes.
So tell me what your question or your desire would be. So I'm hearing like, okay, sometimes he shows up with this anxiousness. It's not ideal. What would you love to see instead? What would you love to experience instead?
Well, first, I'd love to experience him not acting like that. But I would like to experience I'd like to not be affected by it when it happens.
Okay, perfect.
I'd like to just be okay with, and most of the time, I've pretty much been the kind of person that I don't allow other people to affect. They don't affect me like that. But every now and then I let him. Most of the time I don't, but every now and then I do. And my daughter said something about it before. She was like, sometimes, you didn't used to, but sometimes it seems like lately you let him get under your skin sometimes. That's what they both said. I have 2 daughters. They both said it. And they were like, and you normally don't let him do that. Why are you letting him do that? You're way stronger than that. Way bigger of a person than that. But yeah, I'd like it to not affect me. I'd like to just be like the Buddha and just observe and just be like, oh, okay, this is what's going on. See, this is going on.
Oh, but Buddha left his wife.
This is going on. Yep, and I see him acting this way. Yes, yeah, But I'm just observing. It's not happening to me. It's happening to him and wherever. But I'm just observing. I like to be able to be like that.
Okay, question for you, Leisha. So like, I would probably here go into like feeling the gap a little bit, like actually feeling into how she's currently been feeling, like him getting under her skin. And then there's the desire of being like, there's the Buddha observer. Is there somewhere you would take it here to go? Like, I'm just curious where you would go here.
Yeah, something else I would want to know just for me is when you walk away, does he calm down or does he become more anxious? How does he respond?
He doesn't bother me. He's fine. If I could come back like a while later and he's fine, like nothing happened.
So he's able to regulate himself and then you guys can rejoin and be okay.
Like I said, like nothing ever happened. Just fine.
Like nothing ever happened in a way where it gets kind of swept under the rug, or is it actually processed?
Swept under the rug. You said it right, Diana. Swept under the rug. But if you bring it up, if like one of the girls he was like fussing about something one day, and one of the girls brought up, well, the other day you did blah, 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 blah. And he was like, huh? And then we were all looking at him like, yeah, you made a big deal about, like he doesn't think it's a big deal when he does it, but he acts like it is. Weird, like it's not really a big deal to us, but he acts like it is. And then if we bring it up later, like, hey, you were acting like that was a big deal. He's like, no, I didn't. What do you mean? I just did it. And I'm like, okay, you say so, but
yeah. So I want to know that because it gives me a lot of information, because now I know that he can regulate his own system, which is great. So although he's anxious, he doesn't depend on Tracy in order to regulate his system. He can figure it out his own, which is that's great.
Why can he just regulate before, like, so he doesn't act like that? So it's just total 100% regulation. Does that exist?
I mean, if he was here, we could work on that with him.
That's what I always say. I'm like, but you're the one in front of me, so I can only work with you.
And actually, I do want to point out too, that it's usually the more anxious person that receives therapy.
Yeah.
It's not typical for the more avoidant person to address the issues and bring it up.
We've actually went, like many years ago, we actually went to therapy, and the therapist, he got upset with the therapist. The therapist was like, she doesn't need to be here. She's very, basically like, she's very healthy, has very healthy idea of a relationship. Like she said it without saying it, but he felt like he was being attacked, like he was the bad person. And was like, I don't want to see you anymore. I want a male therapist. Then we got a male therapist, and the male therapist did the exact same thing. It was like, she doesn't need to be here.
I'm used to working with like the more anxious one, who is typically the woman in the relationship, who's coming to me. So
Okay.
it's like
Well,
I'm working with a secure person. So it's like, but I don't think you're actually the one we need to work with. But yes, there's always work to be done.
it is because we're dealing with it. Diana, I'm dealing with the anxious, but yeah, he's like the woman. I mean, I'm not a man, I'm a girl, but he's like, every people joke and they're like, he acts like a girl, but all of his brothers are like that. It's not just him. All of them are like that because all the wives say it. They're like, oh, they all act like a bunch of girls. They're all machismo, but they act like a bunch of women. Yes.
So Diana, you're next. Will you ask me your question again? You were asking me where I would go. And you asked me again, you said something about bridging under the skin. What are you thinking now that we know that about the husband?
Right now, I'm wanting to propose, what if it could, rather than feeling like a peaceful Buddha, actually just get really honest and process like how it's impacting you, so that at least on your side, it isn't getting swept under the rug.
Yeah, that's where I would go. And so she has said, like, I shut down and I avoid it.
Yeah.
So I would be curious to start to bring awareness where in her body she can start to bring awareness to
Shutting down.
the shutting down. Because usually for avoidance, this is generalization, they don't feel it in their body. They're not in their body because getting in the body is too uncomfortable.
Mhm.
That's the adaptive response.
Yeah.
Is to avoid it and shut down because the other person is overwhelming their nervous system.
Yeah.
So getting her to start to connect to her body, even though that sounds awful, is how she's going to get to the Buddha state. The other piece,
like right now, sorry, go ahead.
the other piece to think about where you could play is, where did this pattern start? She learned this somewhere, and that's why it became an adaptive response.
Okay.
So you could play with that too.
Interesting.
I'm feeling more to go into the body. Maybe it'll lead to the pattern. So would it be, so I'm gonna just see where the question takes me, but Leisha, if there's another way I can ask it, like I would love for you to just jump in and be like, well, what if you ask it like this? So if we go back to even the most recent moment where he got worked up, and so there was this feeling of, okay, I'm just going to shut it down and walk away. Can you take yourself back to that moment and actually sense within your body where you're feeling the most shut down, or some level of shutting down in your chest? Can you place your hands there, if that feels good, and just breathe into that space? Should I? I'm sorry, Tracy. Would it be a good placement here to actually like talk to the area?
You could. It just depends on how you want to navigate it. One thing I want to point out is, like, it's so much easier when we're in person, but as soon as she put her hands on her chest, her throat constricted. There was like, it almost ever so slightly widened. So there's something happening in her. There's something happening in the body. And whether you want to talk to the body or talk to her and just see what's happening, either one is fine.
Okay. Maybe let's explore what happened in your throat. When you placed your hands there, did you sense there was a constriction?
Mm-hmm. Just a little bit.
What did that feel like?
Constriction.
Mm-hmm.
But when I took the breath, it relaxed it.
tell me if this question lands for you, and it's okay if it doesn't. What is the story that created that constriction?
I don't know. I'm just thinking about when you asked me to go back to when that happened, and I did, and that's what made me feel like that. Just
Okay.
going back to it.
Yeah. When you sense this area shutting down, what is it protecting itself from?
Feeling uneasy, feeling un at ease. Is that even a word?
Mm-hmm.
Not feeling at ease, feeling unstable, feeling
Yeah.
shaky,
Yeah.
feeling ungrounded, feeling not at ease.
Yeah. What does that remind you of?
I don't know what it reminds me of, but I feel like it makes me feel safe, if that makes sense.
To shut it down.
To just walk away and to not feel like that. It just makes me feel safe.
Mm-hmm. Leisha.
Do you want me to ask another question?
Yeah, like I am almost like my tendency here would be, I think, to bring in an inner child, and I'll like start to create the picture of how maybe there's a child that's not feeling safe, and a bit of dialoguing with her. Yeah.
Do it.
I think that's a great idea because, again, this is a learned behavior. Somewhere she learned that the safest thing was to just connect from that. So what do we need to do to invoke that safety?
So when I hear you, Tracy, talking about, there's this thing happening with your partner, and in that moment where his emotions are heightened, there's a feeling of unease, maybe even not feeling really safe. If we were to bring in, whenever fear arises, I love to imagine it being like an inner child, because I feel we can bring a lot of compassion to children and understanding of their perspective. If it feels right to you, can you imagine like who's there and how old she is?
I'm 5 years old and I see my mom and my birth father. I see them arguing and she threw his stuff out of the house.
If you take yourself back to that moment when you're witnessing that, how are you feeling?
Confused and scared.
Mm-hmm. When what you needed was what?
I needed to not be scared. I didn't understand what was going on at the time.
Is it fair to say that when your husband reacts in certain ways, you just don't understand?
Yeah, actually, that's true. Yeah, I would say that. Because I can't understand. I can't. I'm like, this isn't logical here. Like, I'm wrong if I'm right, and I'm right if I'm wrong. But yeah, I don't understand it. I don't want to say I accept it. I've just learned to, accept that some people are just the way that they are, and I'm not going to change that. That sounds bad, doesn't it? But that's kind of how I.
Sounds like peace. To accept people as they are.
Yeah.
If we go back to that moment and your mother's throwing out your father's things, how do you in that moment process it or deal with it? What is your what was your way to protect yourself in that moment or to deal with what you were witnessing?
I don't know. But when I think about it, I feel that constriction again. I feel that constriction when I think about it.
Yeah.
I feel that same constriction.
In your chest and your throat?
Right here. I do. Whenever you tell me to go back there, I feel it. That constriction right there. But I don't remember what I did, but I think I've pretty much been I don't know.
There's something coming through for me. I'm curious if it lands for you. Is there something that you wish you could have said as a 5-year-old to your parents in that moment? Probably knowing it wasn't the moment to say anything, but wishing that you could.
I wish I could have told my parents. There's a lot of things I wish I could have told them, but one of the things that I wish I could have told my parents is that they should not have said certain things that they said in front of us and did certain things in front of us, because it, like, weirdly, you're bringing this up, but I have not thought about this. I've never thought about this until you brought it up. I'm not saying it's your fault, but like it's in my memories, but it's something that was like really pushed back in my memories.
Yeah.
Like repressed kind of, because like I said, as I'm bringing it up, more memories are coming and it's triggering more memories and more memories.
Yeah.
But and it's just making me feel weird.
Yeah.
But I wish I could have told them not to. There's certain things they shouldn't say. And that's funny because now it's bringing something else to light. Like even now, when my husband acts stupid, I'm like, I don't want to say that like that, but when he acts stupid, we're all adults.
Mm-hmm.
But when he acts stupid, I don't like it when he acts stupid in front of the kids, especially my 5-year-old, because he will say something he'll say something about it, like, why are you fussing about that? Daddy, why are you fussing about that? That's nothing to fuss about. Stop fussing.
So Diana, this is just really because you don't normally see avoidance or like working with avoidance. One of those cornerstones of avoidance is they don't even know that they have needs. And if they did have a need, it often wasn't recognized or heard or seen or witnessed, especially as a child.
Mm-hmm.
So, and because Tracy's like, man, this is bringing up this and it's bringing up all this stuff, this is a really good time to resource her.
Mm-hmm. That was what I was sensing, like, and resource her. I was feeling like if there was somewhere in her body she could go to feel back into the present, because all the memories were coming up from the past.
Yeah. You could titrate. So it's that pendulum, that titration swinging. So bring her back into the present. And then once she feels kind of more safe again, then see how we can resource her inner 5-year-old.
Okay, we might have to help me with the resourcing the inner 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So
if the inner 5-year-old has a resource, she might go a little bit deeper, or a different form of healing might happen.
Yeah. So Tracy, how are you feeling in your body right now?
Constricted.
Mm-hmm. Is there somewhere you're feeling that the most? intensely?
The same place. The
Okay.
same place.
If it feels safe, you can breathe into that space and see if you can actually find a place within your body that feels anchored or safe, maybe even a little expansive.
My root
Beautiful.
base.
Okay. So let's just spend some time with the root right now and just feeling that. And if it's helpful, you can even say to yourself, like, grounded. Safe.
Grounded. Safe.
Breathing into your root. And just feeling, the bottom of your seat on the floor. And that you're supported and you're here, you're safe. Alicia, can you help me from here to bring it then if Tracy's feeling anchored enough to go back to her 5-year-old in resource for 5-year-old?
Does that sound like an okay option, Tracy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you don't have to bring the parents back in. Let's just invite your inner 5-year-old to come back in. What do you notice about her? What is she doing, or how is she sitting or standing?
She's just quietly sneaking around the corner, observing with her other 2 siblings.
Are her other 2 siblings older or younger?
One is older, one is younger. My older sister was coddling me. She was trying to cover our ears.
Yeah. When you were 5 or when you were little, was there anything that really just helped you feel safe, calm, relaxed, kind of like how your root feels right now, how your adult you feels right now?
When I was that age, that's when I started talking to angels. So they always comforted me then.
Yeah.
That's around the time when I started talking to them.
Okay.
And started knowing that they were actually really there.
Would it be okay for you if we call in some angels or an angel? Like, do you attune to one specifically, or is there a group?
Michael.
Michael, do you want to call in more than Archangel Michael, or is Michael good?
He's the only one that makes me feel safe.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing. So just for a few minutes, imagine bringing in Archangel Michael with you and your 2 sisters, and you guys are kind of trying to hide around the corner. And just notice if anything shifts.
My body feels calm now.
Okay. So I'm curious if there's anything that you're aware of that 5-year-old needs besides Archangel Michael.
She needs to know that none of that was her fault, that her mom was going to be just fine, that everything was okay, that she didn't need to be afraid. They were just having a bad moment.
Yeah. Who does she need to hear that from?
She needs to look in the future and see that everything turned out just fine.
Oh.
Yes.
Do you want to take back over?
So she needs to look into the future and see that everything turns out fine. I like that. Could this be an opportunity for us to let her know how some things turn out really amazingly?
Mhm.
You know, sometimes I find I have to let my inner child know, like, hey, did you know you're 36 now? Like, you're okay. And like, you make your own decisions and you make your own money and you have your own house. And like, did you know that you've done like all these amazing things in your life? Is there anything we can let her know about how her life turns out to be that would just make her proud and excited?
Yeah. Yeah, actually there is. Mommy gets remarried to a really, really nice man. And if mommy didn't marry that really, really nice man, I wouldn't have my beautiful baby sister that I have right now, who's my favorite sister in the whole world, even though she's a brat. She's my favorite sister in the whole world. I would have never had her, and I wouldn't have my wonderful dad that I have that raised me if all of this didn't happen. And yeah.
There's something that you said that she needed to know in the moment where things were going down between your parents. So she needed to know that none of it was her fault, that everything's going to be just fine, and they're just having a bad moment.
Mhm.
Bringing that into present day, would it be helpful to remind yourself of those very things if and when your husband is having his own moment?
Yes. He's just having a moment. A whole bunch of them. Let me stop.
Not my fault.
I'm sorry. Please don't judge me. But he's just having a moment.
Never.
He's just having a moment. Yes, that will be actually extremely helpful.
And could it be helpful to actually like even think that thought of, okay, imagine this scenario. So he's having a moment, okay? There are some big emotions. And rather than shutting down and walking away to feel safe, could you imagine feeling safe staying in the room and breathing through it and reminding yourself that it's not my fault? He's just having a moment.
I lost my train of thought.
It's okay. Do you want me to ask it again?
Mm-hmm.
Or ask her what just happened.
To make the train of thought go away? Okay.
It feels like she just disassociated for a second.
Okay.
So she's actually she's acting out what you're asking her not to act out in the future.
Got it. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's really brief.
So what just happened there, Tracy? So I asked a question about staying with a triggering moment, perhaps with your husband. And it seemed like something kind of just went blank.
Mm-hmm.
What happened there?
I don't know. I lost my train of thought. I was thinking about it and how he has a moment, and then I just lost my train of thought. And I'm like sitting here trying to go back. I'm like, it just lost my train of thought. And I think it's partly because I got distracted because like something came up on my phone.
Yeah.
Could have had something to do with that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but even though it came up, I was thinking about it, and then it just,
Yeah.
I was like, wait.
So can we bring it back to that scenario? Okay. So just imagining something like happened the other day. Can you imagine, and what does it feel like to imagine just staying in the room when he's having a big emotion, breathing into your body and reminding yourself, it's not my fault. He's just having a moment. How does that feel?
Feels good. if I can actually do it.
Might take some reminding.
Yes.
What do you imagine that might shift in you and in him as a response?
Well, I would hope that I can't really
Let's start
control
with you. Yeah, let's start with you.
me. I would hope, I mean, I don't want to, I don't want it to affect me. I just don't want it to, I want to be able to feel it. I don't want to be disassociated from my body, but I don't want it to affect me like that.
Leisha, did you say you don't want to be disassociated from your body?
I don't want to, like I was telling you earlier, to just avoid it. Because I would, but I don't want to feel it either. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you don't want to feel it because in the past, when you did feel it, it sucked and it didn't feel safe. But in this moment, as adult Tracy, you're safe.
Right.
That's the difference, is that as the adult Tracy, you have everything.
Just feel it.
Yeah. And it seriously just comes down to a practice of actually recognizing that you've disassociated, bringing yourself back to those places that feel constricted, having a breath, saying the mantra, he's just having a moment. None of this is my fault. I'm safe in this moment.
Just thinking about that already feels better.
Yeah. So, and I also want to point out that sometimes leaving the room is the best thing you can do. And that's okay. Because what you're doing is you are regulating your nervous system. You're allowing him to be an adult and regulate his nervous system.
That's a good way to look at it.
Where you're feeling it, right? You're still allowing yourself to notice the disassociation. So it's not leaving and ignoring.
It's noticing it and actually feeling it, but talking to it and letting it know, like not allowing it to affect me, basically, is what y'all are saying, right?
Yeah. And you could play with, in those moments, letting your inner 5-year-old know that she's safe, that it's not her fault.
Wow, this course has really made me feel like I feel really vulnerable now.
I know what you mean. I've had my moments.
But it's good. It's a good release, because I'm very private. I don't really talk to people like that about my personal stuff. I kind of keep a lot in.
Yeah. Well,
people always think everything's cool. They're like, gosh, she's always so cool. Not all the time.
Nothing leaves this container, so you're fine. Diana, I still see a little bit of sadness when we talk about her 5-year-old.
Totally.
So I would just have her check in with that, maybe just how is she?
Tracy, how is your 5-year-old right now?
I think she feels better and more safe. Um, she feels better and she feels safe, but that 5-year-old just, there was a lot going on at that time. Other than that, there's so much, and there's such a big backstory with that. My parents'
Mhm.
divorce, like it's, yeah, it's bad.
Would she like it, or how would she feel? Let me ask it that way. If you visited her more often, specifically around that age and that time.
I think she would feel comforted for me to let her know that everything turns out just fine and that there's nothing to be afraid of, and the evil witch doesn't ever end up doing anything to her. Everything turns out fine.
Did she have someone guiding her through during the time of your parents' divorce?
No.
Mhm. Could you be there for her now?
I could. Yeah, she didn't have anybody back then. There was no counselor, there was nothing.
Mhm.
None of that.
Alicia, would this be a time, and I guess it would also depend like where we're at in the session and like timing wise, to dig into what her 5-year-old self needed as she processed the divorce and moved through what I'm sure was a lot of big changes.
You could. I mean, you had kind of asked her, like, could you be that person
Yeah.
for her? My own curiosity brings me to Tracy's body and where Tracy has been storing all of this,
Mm.
because she has a tendency to be an avoidant. And so, and because whenever we check in with her 5-year-old, Tracy gets very solemn. So there's some somatic cellular memory that is still like.
How would you check that?
Yeah, so I would ask, actually, I trust that Tracy has everything she needs to hold herself in this moment too, and to tell me no if it's a no. Like, it really just depends on the relationship you have with your client.
Yeah.
So I may or may not ask this of my client. But for Tracy, it's like, when you think about your 5-year-old and all the hardships she's gone through and the divorce, where do you notice that in your body? It's still in this spot. So if you were to tune into this spot, is there anything that this spot feels like it needs?
This needs to be calm, relaxed, and centered.
Okay.
Comforted, calm, and secure.
Okay. And what does it want to do in order to get there? Because right now it's not there. Right now it's not calm and relaxed and centered. Right now it feels constricted.
Meditation, serene, peace. I feel like she just needs to go outside and get some fresh air and get grounded in the earth and some meditation.
And notice, just because we are talking about this space, right? Just notice if you're doing those things, if you have any desire to make any noise. And that noise might be a and that noise might be a scream at the sky.
No.
That noise might be a oh, like, or a 5-year-old pretending to sing. Maybe I'm the only one that did that. I used to pretend I was an opera singer when I was 5.
I used to want to be an opera singer when I was little.
And did you not wander around outside singing?
I used to sing all the time,
Yeah.
but I suck at singing. So no.
But notice rather than disconnecting, if that's what that needs as you're outside. Do you need to sing a song? Like, that's the amazing thing about
Mantras what came up for me was mantras. Mantra songs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys remember being 5? Like, I would walk around and be like, that tree is so green and the grass is so dandy. Like, I would just like make shit up and say it, but in a sing voice.
I just sang songs I wasn't allowed to sing, like, I wanna sex you up. And my mom was just like, who is this demon child? I was a frisky little kid.
I love it. Just notice that's what your 5-year-old or your inner child wants, to move some of that energy. Because if we're in constriction, we're in immobilization.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to go from immobilization to fight or flight to rest and digest. Fight or flight can look like singing mantras. That's movement. I should say immobilization, movement, alignment, which is what you said you wanted.
Yeah, I think I'll go for a run today.
Okay. So Diana, depending on the person, I might facilitate that in my session.
Like the mantra or like some.
But I feel like Tracy will do that, and she's very intuitive. Like, I know that, like, I completely trust Tracy to
sing my
chanting.
I love chanting though. I'll do that. Definitely. But I feel like I need to run too.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little chilly today and a little wet outside, but I feel like a good run outside in the outside and some chanting, some mantras, mantra songs.
After you do that, will you fill us in the Voxer group, just as like 1, accountability, and 2, just to make sure that nothing else came up and you don't need anything else?
Mm-hmm, of course.
Okay. Because if it doesn't feel like it's cleared it, if it still feels like there's something there we need to check in with, like, let's do.
How's that feeling?
So Diana, when you look at her chest and throat, what do you notice now?
Right now I'm noticing a slight uneasiness, but like just a moment ago it felt a bit easier.
Mm-hmm. Just a little bit more open. How's your 5-year-old?
It's okay.
Yeah. She can keep hanging out with Michael.
She went through a lot. Oh my gosh, she just went through a lot. She went through a lot.
I think it's so healthy for her for that to be seen and recognized. Where it was probably just expected that she just like move it along.
I never talked about it to anybody. Ever. I think when I went through the spiral, there were a few things that came up at 5, but I didn't like tell anybody what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. So just like Diana said, just like let her know she's seen and she's heard and she doesn't have to tough it out anymore. Like you and Archangel Michael get to hold it now. And it makes so much sense then when your husband is acting super anxious while you're like,
Yeah. Yeah, I would have never thought that. I would have never thought there was any connection.
I'm curious to see how, as you actually allow yourself to feel a little bit more, what that might shift in him or the dynamic between you two.
I'll let you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you know.
yeah, anxious personalities. It's like, I'm so anxious, right?
I gave him the book. I was like, you need to read this. This is you.
Sometimes, I mean, I have a tendency to be anxious, but sometimes with anxious, I just want to be like, it's okay.
I believe you're anxious. I can't believe that, Leisha. You just don't come across. I know you said that in the lessons, but you don't come across at all.
Yeah, it's my old ingrained attachment style for sure. And now when I'm around anxious people, it's probably like my shadow work, right? I'm like, just take a breath.
I'm the same. I was totally anxious, like off the charts. No,
Yeah, I would never think that about you either, Diana.
but I'm so secure now. Like even when I did the assessment, it was like I'm very secure, but like I was romantic relationships had me in a spin.
If I tune into either of you guys, your energy is so calming. It's like, oh.
Yeah, I think Alicia, we probably both get that a lot. I get that all the time. And then my husband's rolling his eyes, being like, not really.
So funny because doing Gene Key's work, Crystal, were you on the call today? You weren't. You're muted.
I missed the call today. I really wanted to though.
We're talking about like our Gene Keys, and my Gene Key that I embody for what people see in me, the shadow is conflict, and it's to diplomacy, to peace.
Oh.
And that is the number one thing people are like, oh God, whenever I work with you or I'm around you, like I feel so calm and peaceful. And it's not something that I advertise or that I do. Like,
is that where your conscious sun gate is?
I should look at my human design chart. In my Gene Key, it's twice in my Gene Keys. Peace is twice.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So do you have that? Do you know, Diana?
What number is that?
It's 6.
I don't think so. I'll have to check. I always get the word soothing. It's like the word that I've had for years to describe what it feels like to work with me.
Yeah.
Soothing.
I do have the 6th gate. I think it's it's on my conscious side.
Is it the sun? Do you see the sun?
No, it's not my sun. It is my conscious. What's the one that looks like the 4?
Pluto?
Maybe Pluto. Yeah.
So that one is your Gene Keys life purpose?
It is my Gene Keys vocation and my pearl.
Okay. That's your life's work.
It's part of the life's work sequence. But it's like, it's my how. The vocation is your how, like how you do things. So it's like, all right.
That's believable for you, for sure.
Yeah. Diana, what questions do you have?
I think you answered them as we were going. Just like sensing like what is okay. That's just like it's just something I always want to be sensitive to. You know, when Tracy was saying like a lot is coming up, like memories I haven't had in a while. I guess my one question is like the best way when I'm with a client who's experiencing that to not bring them far into the trauma is to keep bringing them back to what they're feeling now or what they're noticing now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you did great. You did great with that.
Yeah, you did good.
Bringing her back to that, and just being like, what are you noticing now? What are you noticing now?
Yeah.
And there was no part like, I think in traditional coaching, someone would be like, oh, my 5-year-old, and the answer would be like, well, what happened? You know, they'd be like, well, tell me the story. Let's talk about it. And it's like, no, we don't need to. What's happening in your body right now?
Yeah.
So you did great with that.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I do try to stay out of the story and more on the impact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And did you feel like you kind of saw how I called in a resource for her?
Yeah, that was cool. It was cool to see resourcing the 5-year-old.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes, like, because it's a 5-year-old, it's like, I've been in situations where it's like a blanket.
Right.
Because that's all I had.
Would you imagine like them wrapping themselves in the blanket?
Or holding the blanket, or like maybe going to their favorite place in the yard with their blanket and sitting with it. Yeah.
Leisha, that just reminds me of a reel that you're gonna have to make, because there's a reel that says like I'm gonna be a burrito. I'll send you the audio for it. So like that's perfect for you to do like a inner child blanket thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you guys an experience this week. I had a session with someone, and her 5-year-old was in the bottom of a well. A very, very, very deep well. And because nowhere in the world was safe. Like, that is the place where she was safe, and no one could come down there. Like, it wasn't even like her adult self could sit with her in the well. She ended up agreeing that an angel could sit down there with her. But there was no like, okay, I'm going to come out, or it's like, that's as far as we got in the session. And that was enough. It's like, whoa, your 5-year-old's in a well, and we're going to give it an angel to sit with.
So I imagine she lives her current day in like a ton of fear.
Probably. She actually, quite the opposite, compartmentalizes and disconnected from herself and her body. Because being in her body and being in the present moment isn't safe. And probably, I bet you if she was connected to her body, it would just be super fearful, right? So, I mean, and there's no part of me that's like, well, let's get your child out. It's like, okay, this is where she's going to cultivate safety. This is where we start.
One thing that keeps coming up for me with Eliza is that I can't remember my life before 7.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I tried to do that journaling prompt and I can't remember anything.
Yeah.
I'll ponder that a little bit more.
Yeah. Did you have a lot going on before 7?
I don't think so. I mean, my grandmother just took care of me. I think we talked about,
well, it's also 0 to 7. You can tell me, Leisha, if I'm like, you're really deep in your subconscious, right? So it might, like, it's kind of like you're living a dream for 7 years, like 7, 8 years.
It's common if there's trauma that people don't remember their childhood, or if something happened, it's their way of like disconnecting. But some people just don't remember their childhood.
I don't have a lot of memories, like even through high school. Like,
I feel the same as you, Crystal. Like I can remember some things before 7, but my sister can recall in such detail her childhood that sometimes I'm like, I don't understand. Like,
My stepdaughter said the same thing. She was like, I don't remember any of that. I don't remember anything from 7 Below. And she's only 19.
Wow. I feel like my memory came on about 3 and 4 is when I
Me too.
really started remembering stuff.
Me too. I remember, I can remember things from 3 and 4 years old.
Yeah.
it's like flashes, like little insignificant moments mostly, and some significant ones.
Yeah. Yeah. I also like my sister's the same. She can remember everything about her childhood, but older, right? Like 7 on. And I'll be like, that happened because that's my innate coping mechanism. I'm more optimistic and I try to always like see the light in things and be more positive.
She's older than you?
She's 18 months older than me.
Oh, okay, not significantly. Okay.
So it's like that was actually that's in a weird way, that's my adaptive response. Was like just forget the bad stuff.
That was totally me for the longest time.
Again, my sister will be like, you don't remember when dad did this? And I'll be like, what are you talking about?
Mm.
No, I just remember having family dinner.
My sister's 7 years older than me, so or 6.5. So her perspective on what was happening was like much sharper.
Mhm.
So sometimes she'll say something and I'll be like, oh, I wish I didn't remember that. Keep that to yourself.
I don't want to know.
Mom and dad were perfect.
All right, guys. Tracy, keep us updated, okay? If you need anything,
Oh,
reach out.
thank you. Thank you, guys.
Nice work, guys. See ya.
Bye.